Welcome to part 4 of 6 in our Home Buyers Playbook series. If you haven't seen the previous videos, check out the playlist on this channel, and if you find this kind of content useful, please like and subscribe so that you don't miss our regular market updates or other content that we put out. So the first thing I want to mention is that the list price is the number on the listing, but not necessarily what you end up paying when you buy the house. Most buyers have some general knowledge that there's closing costs, but very few know what those numbers actually look like until they're sitting at the closing table with a stack of documents piled up in front of them. So today I'm walking through every cost involved in buying a home in North Texas beyond the purchase price so that you don't get caught off guard and so that you can plan accurately and know exactly what you're committing to ahead of time. So let's start with closing costs. In Texas, buyers generally pay between 2 and 3% of the purchase price. On a home in Collin County's current average value of $491,000, that's roughly between $9,800 and $14,700. And here's what that money is actually going towards. Lender fees cover the cost of processing and underwriting the loan. This includes the origination charge, which varies by lender but typically runs between 0 and 1% of the loan amount. And some lenders advertise no origination fees, but then they end up pricing that cost into the interest rate instead. So look at the full picture when you're comparing lenders, not just one number in isolation. The appraisal is ordered by your lender and paid by you, usually during the process rather than at closing. In this market, expect to pay between $500 and $700 for a standard residential appraisal. The lender requires it to confirm the property's worth what you're paying. Then there's title insurance. In Texas, that's state regulated and the premium's based on the purchase price. So on the average purchase price in Collin County, you're looking at $2,500 to $3,000. This is a one-time cost paid at closing that protects your ownership interests as long as you own the home. So it's not optional, but it's well worth what it costs. The title company also charges a settlement or escrow fee for handling the closing itself, typically between $500 and $800 in most Texas transactions. Now let me explain the prepaids because this is the category that confuses buyers the most. Prepaids are not fees that you lose. They're money that you put forward at closing that belongs to you in the form of coverage and reserves. And you'll prepay your first year of homeowner's insurance and you'll prepay interest from your closing date through the end of the month. And if your lender requires an escrow account, which most do, you'll fund the initial escrow reserves for property taxes and insurance at closing. Property taxes in Collin County run approximately 2 to 2.5% of the assessed value, depending on the city and the school district. So on the average priced home, that's roughly between $9,800 and $12,275 a year. If you're relocating from a lower tax state, this number is one of the most important adjustments you need to plan for. It's real money that comes out of your escrow every month along with your mortgage payment. Next, inspection costs. These come before closing, during your option period. A general home inspection in McKinney typically runs between $400 and $600 depending on the size of the home, and that covers the general inspection. But depending on what comes up, you may also want separate inspections for things like roof, HVAC, and foundation or pool. Budget $500 to $800 as a starting assumption and understand that additional specialized inspections may be recommended. And this money is not wasted even if you ultimately don't buy the property because it's the cost of knowing what you're purchasing before you commit. Now let's talk about what happens after closing because the spending doesn't stop at the table. Moving costs are obvious but often underestimated. Beyond the move itself, budget for your first 90 days of ownership. New locks if you want them changed, window treatments, new light fixtures or appliances that the home didn't include, and whatever immediate maintenance items may come up from your inspection that weren't addressed by the seller. So plan between $2,000 to $5,000 in post-move spending, depending on the condition of the home and how much you need to furnish for updating it. Homeowners insurance in North Texas has risen significantly in recent years, so budget between $2,000 and $3,500 or more annually, depending on the home's age, value, and the coverage level you choose. Get quotes before you close because this number shouldn't be a surprise. If a home is in a community with a homeowners association, fees vary widely across Collin County subdivisions. Some run under $100 a month, others run several hundred a month. Always confirm the exact HOA fees and request the association's financial documents before you close. For ongoing maintenance, the conventional guidance is to budget approximately 1% of the home's value per year. So on the average priced home, that's about $4,900 annually. Some years will spend less. Some years the water heater or the HVAC will need attention and you'll spend considerably more. So we covered a lot of different numbers. Now let me put the full picture together. On a $491,000 average purchase price of a Collin County home with 5% down, you're looking at roughly $24,550 for the down payment and $9,800 to $14,700 in closing costs, and $500 to $800 for inspections, and then 2 to 3 months of reserves. Total cash needed before you move in is in the range of $40,000 to $47,000, depending on your loan structure and whether you negotiate any seller concessions toward closing costs. None of these numbers should push you away from buying. They're the reality of ownership, and the buyers who plan for them go into the process with confidence rather than anxiety. You should always understand and plan for the complete picture before you commit to a home purchase. If you want to go through the specific numbers for your situation and the price range that you're targeting, visit dandj.realty/contact. We can help make sure that you know exactly what you're walking into so that you can move forward with confidence. I'm David Hughey with D&J Realty Group, and I'll see you on the next one.